The Dyatlov Pass Incident. 9 hikers. One night. Impossible injuries. A mystery frozen in time. In the winter of 1959, 9 young hikers disappeared in the remote Ural mountains of Soviet Russia. They were experienced, well-prepared, trained for extreme cold. Weeks later, their campsite was found abandoned. Their tent was slashed open from the inside. Their boots were left behind. Their bodies were scattered across the snow. Some were barefoot. Some had injuries so severe they looked like the result of a car crash. Others showed no external wounds at all. And then there was the radiation. More than 60 years later, investigators, scientists, and theorists are still asking the same question. What happened at Dyatlov Pass? The group consisted of 9 hikers from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, all between the ages of 20 and 24. They were students and recent graduates, led by Igor Dyatlov, an experienced outdoorsman known for careful planning and leadership. The group included engineers, radio specialists, physics students. They were not reckless adventurers. They had completed similar expeditions before. They understood winter survival. They knew the risks. Their goal was to complete a high-difficulty ski trek to earn elite certification. This was not a casual hike. In late January 1959, the group departed by train, then truck, then on foot. Their last known settlement was a small village on the edge of the wilderness. After that, there were no roads, no towns, no easy escape. The terrain grew harsher. Temperatures dropped below -30 degrees Celsius. Winds intensified as they moved higher into the mountains. Despite delays and difficult conditions, journal entries and photographs showed the group in good spirits. Laughing, joking, confident. On February 1st, they set up camp on the slope of Kolet Syakhl. The name means dead mountain. February 1st, 1959. The hikers pitched their tent on an exposed mountainside instead of descending into the tree line. This decision would later be questioned endlessly. That night, winds howled across the slope. Snow accumulated rapidly. Visibility dropped. Something happened after the group settled into their tent. Something so sudden, so alarming, that 9 people chose to flee into deadly cold, without coats, boots, or supplies. When the group failed to return, a search was organized weeks later. Rescuers found the campsite buried under snow. The tent told the first part of the story. It was cut open from the inside. Personal belongings were neatly left behind. Food, boots, and coats were untouched. There were no signs of a struggle inside. Footprints led away from the tent. Some barefoot, some in socks, all heading downhill. This was the moment investigators realized. The hikers didn't leave willingly. They fled. The first 2 bodies were found near the edge of the forest. They were lightly dressed, near a tree. Evidence suggested they tried to make a fire. They died from exposure. Between the tree and the tent, 3 more bodies were discovered. They appeared to have been trying to return uphill. They never made it. 5 hikers were now accounted for. 4 were still missing. Months later, after snow melted, the remaining 4 bodies were found in a ravine. Their injuries stunned investigators. Massive internal trauma, crushed ribs, skull fractures. Yet there was little external damage. 1 woman was missing her tongue. The force required to cause such injuries was described as comparable to a high-speed collision. But there were no signs of a fight, no footprints from attackers, no weapons. The scene defied logic. Then came another shock. Clothing from 2 hikers tested positive for radiation. Not lethal levels, but unusual enough to raise alarm. At the same time, reports emerged of strange orange lights seen in the sky that night by locals and other hikers. The Soviet investigation reached a conclusion that only deepened the mystery. The hikers died due to a compelling natural force. The case was closed. Files were sealed. Questions were ignored. One of the most widely accepted explanations is a small, delayed avalanche. According to this theory, a slab of snow collapsed onto the tent. Panic set in. The group cut their way out. Injured hikers were struck by heavy snow. The survivors fled downhill. Some tried to return. Others succumbed to the cold. Recent computer simulations support this possibility. But critics argue. No clear avalanche debris was found. Footprints remained visible. The tent was not fully buried. The theory explains some injuries, but not all. Another theory involves rare wind patterns. Strong katabatic winds could have created extreme noise, pressure changes, disorientation. Some suggest infrasound may have triggered panic or hallucinations. But skeptics note, these effects are poorly documented. They don't explain physical trauma. Once again, pieces fit, but not the whole puzzle. The Cold War context cannot be ignored. The area was used for military testing. Speculation includes parachute mines, experimental weapons, missile tests. The radiation findings and glowing lights fueled these theories. But no documents confirm this. No witnesses place military personnel at the site. If there was a cover-up, it left no clear trail. More extreme theories followed. Attacks by locals, escaped prisoners, UFO encounters. These theories captured attention, but lack evidence. No footprints, no weapons, no motive. The mountains themselves remain the most likely culprit, but they refused to give up their secrets. In 2020, Russian authorities reopened the case. In 2022, they officially concluded a natural event, most likely an avalanche, caused the tragedy. But families and independent researchers remain unconvinced. Why cut the tent? Why scatter? Why such severe injuries? The official explanation feels incomplete. The Dyatlov Pass incident endures because it sits at the intersection of nature's power, human panic, Cold War secrecy, incomplete evidence. 9 capable hikers entered the mountains. None returned. Their final hours remained frozen, not just in snow, but in uncertainty. This was the Dyatlov Pass Incident, a mystery shaped by ice, fear, and unanswered questions. If you want more deep-dive investigations into the world's most unsettling mysteries, subscribe to Mystery Grid. Because every story is a puzzle, and some puzzles refuse to melt away.